Tara Baker. A student from a prestigious university returned home from the library and no one saw her again. From the very first days of the investigation, strange, unsettling, and frankly discouraging facts began to emerge, ultimately leading to a change in the law. Despite all this, the truth remained elusive for several decades. It was only in 2024 that the case was finally reopened. Friends, after watching, I recommend checking out my Telegram channel, where I daily share interesting crime news from around the world without censorship. Tara Baker was born on January 20th, 1977, in Atlanta, Georgia. Her parents married when she was young, and soon after, her mother remarried, having a son with her new husband. In total, Tara had 2 siblings, making her the eldest. From an early age, she developed an interest in the legal system and set a goal to become either a lawyer or a judge. She organized mock trials with her stuffed animals, involving her relatives in funny scenarios, and even wrote letters to politicians. Once, she even wrote a letter to the sitting president. His speech interrupted her favorite TV channel, and in the letter, Tara expressed her discomfort. After finishing high school, she attended college in Georgia, completing her studies in just 1 year. In total, over 3 years she earned 2 degrees related to law. In 1999, Tara enrolled at the University of Georgia to pursue a financial education on her path to her dream career. This university was considered one of the best law schools in the country and was located in a small town named Athens, just a few hours from her home, making it an ideal choice for Tara. She decided not to stay in a dormitory on campus but to rent an apartment off campus. She chose a private house divided into 3 rented rooms. The other 2 rooms were occupied by fellow university students, one of whom Tara knew well from college. Tara also worked for a time at a prestigious law firm, which not only helped her cover rent and other expenses but also provided her with valuable experience in her future specialization. In October 2001, when Tara was 23, she was in her second year of university. She spent a lot of time in the library preparing for classes, and the evening of January 18th was no exception. She and a friend went to the library and spent a few hours there. Around 8:30 p.m., her friend went home, but Tara decided to stay. At approximately 9:46 p.m., she called her friend from the library to let her know she was planning to head home soon. The next day, around 6 a.m., Tara's mother, Virginia Baker, received a phone call. At first, she thought it might be a prank. On the other end of the line, a police officer asked if her daughter had ever been arrested because they needed her fingerprints. Believing it was a joke, Virginia hesitated, but decided to call the Athens police for clarification. To her surprise, they confirmed that she was speaking with a real detective and informed her that there had been a fire at Tara's residence. Confused and anxious, Virginia asked to speak to her daughter. However, the detective informed her that they could not find Tara and that a body, which was not immediately recognizable, had been discovered in the house. This was why they were asking for Tara's fingerprints. The detective explained that the police had only managed to locate one of Tara's neighbors, who was not at home at the time of the fire. The whereabouts of the second roommate were still unknown, and investigators suspected that the found body might belong to one of them. Virginia asked for a description of the room where the body was discovered, and the police responded that it was filled with various antique items, as Tara had a significant collection of such things in her room. The family immediately traveled to Athens, hoping that everything was just a misunderstanding and that Tara was safe. When they arrived at the police station, no one spoke to them for a long time, leaving the family in the dark. Just a few hours later, one of the detectives finally informed them that the body found in the house belonged to Tara. The cause of her death was not the fire but murder. The detective then said he was too tired to answer any more questions and left. Before departing, he mentioned that Tara had left behind a gift for them. Under her nails, they found a piece of skin belonging to the perpetrator, which could help in identifying him. Tara's relatives, shocked by the news of her murder, struggled to comprehend what was happening, but none of the officers dared to provide additional information. They tried to get at least some answers, but no one was willing to share any details. From that point on, the local police never contacted them, forcing the family to pursue information themselves, piece by piece, through calls and visits to the station. They were determined to uncover the truth. On January 19th, around 11 a.m., firefighters were called to Tara's address to extinguish the fire. They discovered the body in the house, which was later confirmed to be Tara. They belonged to Tara. Soon after, the police became interested in another individual, a university student who had been in the same group as Tara and had a problematic reputation. Many students reported that he frequently asked different girls out on dates and often did not handle rejection well. The young man had called Tara several times, which was problematic since she was in a relationship, but he continued to insist on seeing her. Some girls reported feeling uncomfortable due to his strange behavior, which caused them to feel threatened. Detectives began to look into him, but they found no evidence linking him to the crime. At one point he even asked Tara to follow him, a decision that raised red flags but ultimately led nowhere. Another suspect was a lawyer who worked at the same firm as Tara. Conversations with colleagues revealed that he had started to behave unusually before the murder. In their office there was a close-knit group of employees who often socialized outside of work, but this lawyer had begun to distance himself from them. Just a few days before the incident, he informed Tara that he would not be able to attend her birthday celebration, which was scheduled for the day after her murder. On the morning of January 19th, before the fire broke out, one of Tara's colleagues attempted to convince the lawyer to attend the event, as Tara considered him a good friend and was upset that he would not be there. A colleague visited the lawyer's office, but he was absent, which was unusual since he was typically present in the mornings. Concerned, the colleague checked his work calendar, expecting to find scheduled meetings, but there were none. The lawyer did not show up that day at all. However, the following day, he returned to another colleague's home and exhibited some odd behavior. There were suspicions that he was regularly using illicit substances, which could explain his erratic actions. Additionally, the colleague noticed fresh scratches on the lawyer's neck. As a reminder, under Tara's nails, investigators had found a piece of skin believed to belong to the murderer. When questioned about the scratches, the lawyer claimed he had been hurt by a cat and insisted he had no connection to Tara's murder. Yet he continued to act strangely, asking who he thought might have committed the crime. He abruptly screamed that it was Tara's father, offering no evidence to support this theory. Another peculiar detail was that the lawyer suddenly resigned just a few months after Tara's murder and moved out of state. It remains unclear whether the police ever tested his DNA against the samples found under Tara's nails. In fact, for all these years, there has been no information regarding the status of those samples. As with many aspects of the investigation, the inspectors did not share any information with Tara's family. Later it came to light that the lawyer had been secretly meeting with two female colleagues, despite being married. This could potentially explain his erratic behavior and unexcused absences from work. Both women expressed their belief that the lawyer was using illegal drugs. Ultimately, the police found no evidence linking him to the murder, and he was never officially cleared as a suspect. Detectives also investigated the employees of the company that managed the house where Tara rented a room, as they had access to a backup key. This could account for the lack of signs of forced entry. However, no significant leads emerged from that point onward. The police continued to search for new suspects and witnesses, keeping many details of the investigation under wraps, citing concerns that releasing information could hinder their efforts. Eventually, they received a few potential clues. One witness reported seeing a man resembling the description of the suspect in Tara's house just a couple of hours before the fire. Another claimed to have seen one of Tara's classmates with blood on his clothing shortly after the murder. The police investigated both leads, but neither produced any conclusive results. In an effort to generate new information, Tara's family raised $27,000 as a reward for any tips that could help solve the case. Over the years, almost all the detectives involved in the investigation changed, and the new team vowed to continue the inquiry. Unfortunately, no new breakthroughs occurred. The primary issue remained the lack of evidence. As the police stated, the fire and subsequent damage had left virtually nothing in Tara's room that could aid the investigation. In 2020, 19 years after the murder, a podcast emerged that focused on Tara's case. The host, along with Tara's relatives and other participants, gathered all available information about the crime, reigniting public interest. The police department involved in the investigation took notice of the podcast, which ultimately led to improved communication between the new detectives and Tara's family, effectively prompting them to reactivate the investigation. The podcast's dedicated coverage continued for 2 years, significantly impacting the case's trajectory. As a result, the state of Georgia initiated a project aimed at reducing the number of unsolved cases. This initiative was named after Tara and another victim, Rhonda Coleman, whose murder remained unsolved. Rhonda, an 18-year-old, had been found dead in 1990, and despite the lack of a connection between her case and Tara's, it was decided to name the project the Coleman-Baker Initiative. In 2023, the law was officially accepted, and Governor George traveled to Athens to sign it in the presence of both victims' families. This legislation established a division for unsolved homicides within the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. It empowered this division to request police assistance in investigating unsolved cases, reviewing evidence, and taking necessary steps to uncover new leads. As soon as the law took effect in 2023, a specialized group was formed to tackle the murder cases. They meticulously reviewed all available materials and began examining previously untested evidence using modern DNA analysis techniques. After several months of dedicated work, on May 13, 2024, the police held a press conference announcing that, after 23 years, a suspect had finally been arrested. The individual was identified as 48-year-old Edric Faust. During the conference, investigators refrained from disclosing the details of how they arrived at the suspect, emphasizing that they relied primarily on DNA and other biological evidence. The reason investigators did not disclose all the details is that it could jeopardize the upcoming court process, which has yet to begin. They plan to present the evidence against Faust in due time. Among the charges in the arrest documents, Faust was accused of drug-related offenses involving the victim, suggesting that his biological material could correlate with the DNA evidence. Additionally, as previously noted, a piece of skin from the attacker was found under Tara's nails. Modern forensic tools likely enabled investigators to extract DNA from this sample, potentially linking it to Faust. He was already in the FBI database due to multiple previous arrests for various offenses, including assault, and had spent a significant portion of his life in prison. At the time of Tara's murder, Faust was 25 and lived in the same city. However, police indicated that they had found no evidence to suggest that Faust and Tara were acquainted, which raises the possibility that he entered her home or approached her under some pretext. Detectives also noted that Faust had never been a suspect in this case until recently, as he was released just a few days before his arrest due to advancements in DNA analysis methods. He is now in jail, awaiting the start of a court process where the details of the evidence against him will be revealed. The investigators are confident that they have obtained conclusive results from the DNA analysis, which is why Faust was taken into custody. Authorities have no doubt that Faust is responsible for Tara's murder, officially marking her case as a homicide. Tara's family, who fought for 23 years for justice, has finally been able to uncover the truth thanks to the new team of detectives who worked diligently on this case. As for Rhonda Coleman, the second girl for whom the law was named, her case remains unsolved. However, her family now has hope that detectives will be able to uncover new evidence and bring her killer to justice, just as they did in Tara's case. Share your opinion on this story in the comments, and don't forget to like this video if you liked it. Thank you for watching.